Today I'm going to be showing you how to take a brimmed hat like this and line it with fleece like this. The hat I'm demonstrating today is the fisherman cap. I will leave a link to the pattern in the description, and I also have a video on my YouTube channel for this hat, so I'll be sure to leave the links for that below. But in the meantime, let's get started. So you need your hat, your fleece, you need some, I was going to say yarn, that's a really small spool of yarn, some thread, a regular sewing needle, a marker, or this is like a marker type pen, any kind of measuring device, and I use a product called Liquid Stitch or Speed Sew. So I have a little hole in my Speed Sew, that's why it's in a bag, but I will leave links to those below so that if you need to pick some up from Amazon, you can do that. So that is everything that you need. Okay, so once you have your fleece, there's going to be a right side, which will usually be the fancy or the pretty side, and the wrong side. So to get started, you want to lay the two right sides together. Also, what you want to make sure of is that when you put your hat on, that the fleece stretches around your head. So you can see here, this is really stretchy this way, but not this way. I mean, there's a tiny bit of stretch, but that is not the stretch you want. You can see the lines running vertically here. So just make sure that when you lay out your fleece, that you have it stretching horizontally. Okay, so just make sure that the bottom edge of the fleece is lined up really nicely, and just fold it over so that you have your fold here, because you don't want to waste the fleece. So if you have it folded the way they give it to you in the store, you're going to end up wasting a lot. So I like to fold mine over so that there's just a little bit extra than the size of the hat. All right, so we're going to take our hat, unfold the brim for now, and make sure that the bottom of the hat is lined up with the bottom of the fleece. Okay, and then what you want to make sure you do is where it's folded here, you want to line the edge up, the side of the hat with that edge there. All right, and now all we're going to be doing is tracing your hat, and basically what we're doing is we're making like a little hat out of fleece to go inside of the knitted or crochet hat. So now that that is laid out exactly where you need it, all you're going to do is just make some lines about, I'm going to say about about a half an inch from the edge of the hat. So I'm just going to eyeball it, but if this is your first time and you want a little bit, you want to be sure, you can just use your ruler like this. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way around and just make little marks, and that's going to guide me on where to cut. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you can see there where I've cut it. Okay, oh, I think I forgot to mention that you need scissors. Yes, you need scissors. All right, so now that that's done, you can move your hat because you don't want to accidentally cut that while you're cutting out the fleece. And then you're just going to follow the line around and cut the fleece out. And I'll just start over here. Okay, so just cut that out. Okay, so with leaving it exactly like that, now you're just going to take your glue. Now, of course, if you are a sewer and have a sewing machine, you definitely can do this. And when we get to sewing to the part of the hat, you can probably do that as well. I have not tried it, but what I would suggest doing is using a basting stitch so that you have some leeway, and perhaps putting a tissue paper on top just so your needle doesn't snag the yarn. And okay, so now all you're going to do is just take this glue. I hope you guys can see. It's like white on white on white. And just put little dabs all, oops. Okay, I guess it's been a little while since I used my glue. And I'm just going to put little dabs around here. And don't put it too thick. This is a really good adhesive. It bonds really well to the fabric. Okay, and then all we're gonna do is just put those two sides together and then go find something to do for a couple of hours while it dries. Okay, so we'll come back once that is dry and we will finish up, and I'll show you how to sew it to the hat. So really easy so far, right? All right, I'll meet up with you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, so we're back now. So this hat is pretty much dry, the seams. So you'll see if we flip it right side out, it really just looks, okay, like a messy hat. All right, but basically the same shape as your hat. But for now, you want to leave it wrong side out. So the side where you see your marks. And we are going to now take your beanie, and what we're going to do is we're going to fold up the brim, and you want to make sure that you're folding it up a little further than it needs to be. Okay, so let me just mark it here because it's a little bit dark with this fabric, this yarn. So this is the bottom edge of my brim. I'll turn it this way. This is the bottom. My brim actually ends here. So we're gonna flip it up to about an extra ½ inch. So this here is the bottom of my brim where the edge of the ruler is, but we're actually going to roll that brim up about an extra ½ inch. Now the reason we're rolling it up further than it needs to be is that when we do our stitching, we want the stitching to be catching on the inside of the hat, not to the edge of the brim. So follow me in and it'll start to make sense. So let's just do this all the way around. And yeah, so that looks pretty much perfect. Okay, now we're going to take our hat and we're going to put the right sides together. So remembering that with your fabric, the inside of the fleece may have maybe it has a design, so it'll be the more prominent side. For this one, it has a fleecy texture on the right side of the fabric and a plain polyester feel on the back. So you want to put the two right sides together. So fold your hat so it fits in there nicely and center it. Now it is going to be a little bit squished, but see, it's good. We have fleece, so that's not a problem. It's going to stretch with the hat. Okay. Let's just line this up. And again, just take a look, make sure you know where the bottom of your brim is. It's lined up. And of course you can adjust this as you go. And then all we're going to be doing is sewing it on. So let's just grab our thread and needle. I'll go off camera to do this. Okay, so we're going to be doubling our thread over. Okay. All right. So when we're sewing this, we actually need to leave an opening because we're going to be turning the hat right side out. So just trust me on this one. Just follow me along. So I am going to mark right here. This is going to be my stopping point, and I'm going to start sewing the hat together about here. So you can do this pretty much in any method that you want. I'm not a fancy hand sewer anymore. I did have my day. Back in the day, I used to sew quite a bit, but I'll just go along. You can just take tiny stitches. Don't take them too big or they can end up looking a bit sloppy. I want to jump back in here because I just want to give you a little tip. This is to make sure that once the lining is sewn in, that it isn't all crooked. So as I've been doing mine, I've actually been using the bottom of the stitch to guide where I'm putting my stitches. So I'm just putting it right through there. Okay, and then the next one, I'll just put it in that same spot right here. I'll try and move in on the camera so that that's clearer. then the next one, same thing, right through this bump here. And if you continue to do that, then your stitches are always basically going to be in the same spot. Okay, and through that one. And I'm going to continue doing that all the way around, and then we'll meet up and we'll flip it right side out. Okay, so I finished working my stitches all the way around. I don't want to show you the other side because it was like super messy. You can see I sort of found my groove part way through. So this is where I had the needle in for my stopping point. So let's take that out. Now we're not going to take this needle and weave it in yet because we will do that after we flip the hat right side out. So all you're going to do is just take that space and flip. It's a little finicky. Flip everything the right side out. There's the hat, and then you're going to tuck the lining in, and look, your hat is lined. And then we'll just move that brim back into place, and you can see because we rolled that brim up far, the lining is nicely tucked inside the hat. Let's just go in and we'll finish closing up our opening here. So just turn your fleece over and we'll try to make these stitches as invisible as possible. Okay, so what I would do is work down here, and then just catch a little bit of the fleece. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be good and it's going to be cozy. Let me know, who did you line your hat for? You know, there's so many adorable fleeces out there. I have one I bought a while ago with owls on it. Yeah, there we go. We'll just sew this along. So I'll fast forward. And now at this point, you're just going to weave in the ends here. One last closing thought here. If you're worried about the liner slipping out, just take your needle and thread and do a couple of stitches in the top, going through both the lining and the top of the hat. And then if you have a brim like this, what I would do is do the same thing at the side. So you want to find your okay, so there's my center back seam. And what I would do is I would do a couple of stitches here on the edge and then on the opposite side, again working through both the lining and the hat, and then that will keep it in place for you, especially for kids because they yank their hats off and throw them everywhere. So I think that will solve that problem. Okay, there you have it. Now I do also have video tutorials on how to line a hat with ear flaps and a regular beanie, so I'll put the links to those below if you want to check those out. But I think that looks amazing. It's so nice and cozy in there. Oh, I love it. All right, and there you go. A lined hat with a brim. If you're one of these people that requested this video, I hope that you really enjoyed it. Be sure to leave me a comment below. If you learned something new and enjoyed the video, perhaps give it a like and subscribe so that when I do more videos, you will see them in your feed. However, I think you only see them in the feed if you hit the bell. Anyways, that's it for today. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out these videos next. And until next time, bye-bye.